Good afternoon. We are continuing with our Unit 7 with probability. We are working on PO40. I can calculate the probability of a single event. So let's look at what that probability is. We talked about it yesterday. Probability is the likelihood of an event occurring. Just like yesterday, we're building off of that. So that probability is that likelihood that that event is going to occur. So like we talked about yesterday, we have our probability scale, 0% to 100%. You can't get over 100%. It either is going to happen, it's not going to happen, or it's somewhere in the middle. Can't be higher than that. It's definitely going to happen. Really doesn't make sense. Okay, it will happen or it won't happen, somewhere in the middle. So our middle, we know, is 50%. If it's between 0 to 50%, is it most likely going to happen or not likely? Not likely. And if it's between 50% and 100%, is it likely going to happen or not likely? Likely. The closer you get to the 100%, the more likely it is going to happen. Then we're adding something new on today. Okay, yesterday we were just talking about that scale probability. Now let's look at that probability formula. So when we're talking about probabilities, we can look at it as what you want to happen and we divide that by what could happen. I will step aside. So on the bottom is what could happen, all of the possible outcomes, right? What could happen? How many outfits could I put together? On top, it's what you want to happen. Or we could word it a different way and say desired outcomes over possible outcomes. So we have our desired outcomes over the reality. What are all the possible outcomes that could be? So our desired outcome, we want to get the winning lottery ticket out of what are all the possible outcomes? How many numbers could there be for that lottery? What did you say it was for the Minnesota Lottery Powerball, Edward? 1 out of 10,000?
Well, it had a decimal, would be 0.001.
So 0.001% chance of it happening? Yeah, that's pretty small probability of actually winning that Powerball. So we want to be able to calculate the probability of each event written as both a fraction and a percentage. So if we put in the desired outcome and we put in the possible outcomes, that's giving us our fraction, right? But we also want to be able to turn that into a percentage. What percent chance would that be? So let's do some examples. We want to calculate the probability of each event written as both a fraction and a percentage, and then we're going to decide, is it likely to happen or not likely? If it's between 0 and 50%, not likely. 50% to 100%, likely. So I shouldn't say between 0 to 50, it should be 0 to 49%, not likely. 50 to 100% is likely to happen. So let's look at our bag of marbles. 9 are red, 24 are blue, 15 are white, and 12 are yellow. What is the probability of choosing a red marble? So remember, we want our desired number of desired outcomes over the number possible. So number of desired over the number possible. So what is my fraction going to be? Chase?
960.
How did you, I know how you got 9 because I see there are 9 red. How did you get 60?
160 marbles.
There are 60 marbles. If we add up the red, the blue, the white, and the yellow, we get 60. So there are 60 possible outcomes when you put your hand in the bag and you pull out a marble. You got 60 marbles to choose from. 9 marbles are red. So out of those 60, you might pick a red one out. There's 9 red. So there's 9 desired outcomes. So we know the fraction 9/60. What is that percent?
It's 15 because you can reduce 960 to 3 twentieths, and then 20 times 5, which is really a
You got the correct answer. You took a long way to get there. What is an easier way to get there, Amelia?
You can just divide 9 by 60.
Divide 9 by 60. So you were correct with your math, Paul. You don't need to do all of that math. Don't overcomplicate. Okay? So if we do 9 divided by 60, so we know that fraction bar means divide. 9 divided by 60, we get 0.15. We want to turn that decimal into a percent. Am I done with my answer? Why not?
You have to write it this way.
Not likely.
Is it likely or not likely? So what would it be, Owen?
Not likely.
Not likely, 15%. Not likely going to get any red marbles. So let's look at our next one. What is the probability of choosing a yellow marble? Maddie, what is our fraction?
1260.
Yeah, there are 12 yellow marbles, and we know there are 60 possible marbles. So 12/60. And it says to write it as a percentage. So what percentage would that be, Paisley?
20%.
Yeah, because 12 divided by 60 gets us 0.2, and we know 0.2 is 20%. Is that likely or not likely? Not likely. So as we're going down, we have to look. Oh, the next one says blue or white. So what do we have to do to solve that one? Joseph?
You have to add the amount of blue and white marbles.
We have to add the blue and white together.
And you have to divide that by 60.
So how many blue and whites are there? Joseph, are you counting?
39.
39. So we added the blue and the white together out of 60 marbles. And that gets us what decimal? Paisley? 0.65, which we know gives us
Please excuse the
65.
interruption. John Battle, will you please come to the office? John Battle to the office.
65%, is that likely or not likely? Likely, because we have a much bigger number we're choosing from. So this is likely to happen. What is the probability of choosing a red, white, or yellow? Red, white, or yellow. What is the fraction for that? Izzy? 36 over 60. What decimal did you get for that, Briggs?
0.6.
So 0.6 we know is 60%. Is that likely or not likely, Cole? Likely, because it is over 50%. Seems kind of easy till we get to some more complicated ones. So let's look at our next page. This is your work for today. We need to calculate the probability of each event, both as a fraction and a percentage. Show your work. So you need to show what you're doing. So the letters of the alphabet, 26 of them. So they're either capital or lowercase, not both, are placed in a hat. What would be our possible outcomes? How many possible outcomes would there be if there's 26 letters put in a hat, Molly?
I just had a question.
Yes.
So in the vowel, would a Y be included as a vowel?
Oh, we're not to that yet. So let's just pause. How many possible outcomes are there if we put the letters in the hat, Naveen? Yeah, there's 26 letters in the hat. There's 26 possible outcomes. So we look at choosing a consonant. You need to know how many consonants there are. Choosing a vowel. How many vowels are there? Who knows how many consonants are there? Paul?
21.
How many vowels are there? Straight up vowels, not sometimes maybe in special occasions. How many vowels? Nathan? 5. So you need to know this. This is information that you should know. 5 vowels, 21 consonants, 26 letters altogether. So then we're going to go down, all the way down to the next one. You flip a coin 5 times. Ooh. Thinking back to what we did yesterday, thinking back to yesterday's PO, how many possible outcomes are there if we flip a coin 5 times? How many different possible outcomes? Andrea?
2 to the 5th power.
Yeah, because we're flipping that coin, you have heads or tails, heads or tails, heads or tails, heads or tails, heads or tails. So if we look at that probability tree that we were doing yesterday, it gave you all those different possible outcomes. If we did 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, our possible outcomes is really big. It's 32. Joseph?
Do you know where my pencil pouch is? Because
I have no idea where your pencil pouch is. Does anybody else know where Joseph's pencil pouch is? Yes, you can go look. So just be careful with the flip a coin 5 times. Going back to what we talked about when we were correcting social studies earlier today, and some people didn't read the directions, the questions the whole way. You need to read for meaning. We talked about this yesterday. Are we putting it back in? Are we keeping it out? Does it need to be in a specific order, or can it go either way? So you really have to think about those desired outcomes. It's going to change your answer. So be careful, because I'll tell you what, I had to text Mr. Schultz because I said, I don't understand how Rosa got this answer. And Rosa said, Mom, to be honest, probability is not my strong suit. I don't understand how I got the answer off the top of my head either. So I texted Mr. Schultz and he's like, well, look back. And I was like, oh, got it. Simple mistake. But when you go too fast, when it's the end of the day and I'm tired because it's been a long day, I wasn't thinking quite so clearly and didn't slow myself down. Slow yourself down, read the full question, and make sure you're answering it correctly. So some of these are not as straight up simple as it first looks. You don't have to what? No, on the back side, the directions just say you have to write it as a fraction and a percentage. Fraction and percent. All right, with that, I'm going to say I hope my friends at home are doing well. Be watching tomorrow. I will be putting our new math packet on In class, I passed out the new math packets, but we have not gone over them yet. So I will be scanning them and putting them on an assignment for friends at home. We hope to see you soon. Have a good day.